everybody, my name is Jeremy, and today we'll be going over our alignment and our component identification because they tie into each other. What we're going to do now is we're going to do a pre-alignment inspection. What the pre-alignment inspection is looking over all of the key components that have to do with the alignment to make sure that they're all in proper working order. That being tread depth, that would be tire pressure. You're going to look, make sure to see if the frame is bent or anything. But first things first, what starts the alignment is right here at the steering section. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to identify some of these steering components. Alright, so what we have here is we have the Pitman Arm. And what this Pitman Arm does is takes the rotational force of the gearbox and turns it to a linear up and down movement for this drag link and or Ackerman arm, depending on the location of it. And what this Ackerman arm does is it takes the linear up and down movement of the Pitman arm and turns it to a linear left and right with the top kingpin right here. Now at the top kingpin, as you can see, it comes in over here where you have your Zerk fitting, which is the grease, and underneath that Zerk fitting is the actual kingpin, which comes down and secures the spindle to the actual axle itself. Now, as you can see in here, we have the grease on the bottom for the bottom kingpin and grease for the top kingpin, and then in between we have the axle. Yes, the axle. Now, ahead of this is the spindle, which we cannot see because the tire is mounted to it, but the spindle is essentially the front portion of the kingpin. And what the kingpin does is allow the left and right movement of the tires. So we're going to go back and we're now going to finish our pre-alignment inspection by testing tread depth and a tire gauge for a proper amount of air. So as you can see here, I have both of those tools. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take our tread depth, which is about 16-30 seconds. 16-30 seconds in the front, which is well within specs. Our air pressure is a little low, but within specification. And when you're doing tread depth, you always want to do it in 3 different spots so that you can get an accurate reading. This front tire was 12-30 seconds. This one is 11-30 seconds. We have another 12-30 seconds. Same with this one, 12-30 seconds. These tires are at an acceptable level. These as well. We'll check the tread on these. They're all 12-30 seconds. We want to be sitting between 100 to about 120 psi on these. We're sitting at about 105 right now, so we're within specifications. Same with this tire. With these all being within 12-30 seconds, that shows that there is equal amount of wear on both axles and both sets of tires. We're going to go up here and we're going to finish off this with inspecting the front steer tire. As you see, we got 12 there. And we are sitting at 100 psi. So our pre-alignment inspection, we checked the tires, we checked the tread, we checked our steering components, and we checked the frame to make sure there was no cracks, bends, nothing was broken, nothing was hanging. We're going to check our suspension now, which when I pulled into the shop, I unloaded the suspension, which means I stopped before pulling in the shop and then let the truck coast just by releasing the clutch, not using the gas or the brakes, just allowing the truck to naturally roll into the shop, which settles the suspension and unloads it so that I can get proper readings. And with these, we're going to look and make sure that there's nothing out of the ordinary. The springs aren't splayed, the shocks aren't dripping or leaking or anything. We're going to make sure everything is in proper working order. Make sure our airbags are inflated, they're not popped out, they're not cut, broken, anything of that nature. And it looks like everything is in good working order, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start our alignment. Alright, what we're doing now is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use the Easy Read laser setup. As you can see, there's a nice X on the ground. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to line the tape measure up. And we're measuring right now for toe. And as you can see, I'm sitting at about 105.5 on the front. And I'm going to go ahead, this is the front tire, the front portion of the tire. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the back. And as you can see now, I'm sitting at about 105. It's moving a little bit, about 105 3/4. So we're got about a ½ an inch of toe out, which is now within specs because we need to have toe in, not toe out. So with that said, is we would then make our corrections and we would make sure that we have factory specifications of about 1/8 toe in. So now what we're going to go ahead is we're going to go ahead and we're going to set up to square the back two rear axles, the intermediate axle and the rear axle. So I'm going to set that up and I'm going to get right back to you guys. So we aligned, or I apologize, we went ahead and we established what the toe of the front was. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to align the intermediate rear axle and the rear axle to make sure that the back of this vehicle is aligned with the frame. So right here I have it set up on the intermediate hub and then on the rear hub on the other side of the vehicle. So as you can see, we're going to come over here and we cross right at about 115 and looks like 15/16. So we got 115 and 15/16, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna swing over, and we're gonna set it up for the other axle. We're gonna set this up over here on this axle, and we're gonna get our measurement. Now these easy read lasers are self-leveling, so all you have to do is set it up and let it self-level itself. And we got about 116.25. So we got just a little bit over of a quarter of an inch in difference, and which factory specifications is 1/8 of an inch. So we're a little bit out of line, but today is a little bit windy, and that was definitely affecting our measurements. So definitely we are I would say we are within specs, but I'm not 100% gonna agree to that, because it's just different weather conditions is just not permitting. So we're gonna go ahead now and we're gonna do our thrust measurements, which is aligning the very front of the vehicle with the rear of the vehicle. And for that we set this up how we had it before, and it's gonna be our intermediate axle to our front axle. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set that up right now, and we're gonna go ahead and make those measurements. Alright, we have it set up now, and our thrust angle is about 171.5, or about 170. We'll call that 171.5 for the passenger side to driver side intermediate axle. Give me a second. We're going to switch over, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the driver side front axle to passenger side intermediate axle. So I now have it set up for driver side front to passenger side intermediate, and we're got about 171. So we're looking about a 1/2 inch of play here, which is within specifications, which is not within specifications. Our specifications are 1/8 to 1/4 max. So with that said, the truck does need a little bit of help in realignment. That's something that now that we have the proper measurements and we know what's going on, we can go ahead and we can make those adjustments, and we would realign this truck and make sure that it tracks properly and get it back on the road in a timely manner. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching this video. Thank you very much, and you have yourself a great day.